Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Read About the Presidents. We're going to do number 7 today. Um, we just did number 6, John Quincy Adams. Here is uh, Andrew Jackson Jr. According to this, he was named after his dad. Andrew Jackson Jr. was born March 5th, 1767, in Waxhaw region along North and South Carolina border. He died June 8th, 1845, at the Hermitage in Tennessee. His nickname was Old Hickory. He was a Presbyterian, so I like. No higher education. His profession was a lawyer and a soldier. His military service included the American Revolutionary War under George Washington, enlisted and was a messenger at age 13, taken prisoner in April 1781, and held for 2 weeks. So he was a POW. He also served in the War of 1812. Appointed Major General of the U.S. Volunteers and later promoted to Major General in regular Army. Hero after winning Battle of New Orleans. He also served in the First Seminole War. That's another war with the Indians. His father was named Andrew Jackson as well, and he died about the same time that his son was born. We don't know exactly what date, but it says that his dad, Andrew Jackson Sr., died in 1767, the same year he was born. His mother was Elizabeth Betty Hutchinson Jackson, and she passed away in 1781. Andrew Jackson Jr.'s wife was Rachel Donaldson Roberts Jackson. Wed in August 1791 in Natchez, Mississippi, with a second ceremony on January 17, 1794, in Nashville, Tennessee. No children, but adopted a nephew of Rachel's and named him Andrew Jackson Jr. and Lincoya Jackson, a Cherokee child. Interesting. Adopted around 1812 and died 1828. Ouch. How many years is that? What would that be? 18, 10, 18, I think. 16. 16. Yeah, wow, that's pretty young. 16 years old. Political life for Andrew Jackson Jr. was public prosecutor in the Western District of North Carolina. U.S. representative, served as first congressional representative from Tennessee. U.S. senator for 5 months. Interesting. Justice of the Tennessee Superior Court. And later a U.S. senator from 1823 to 1825. He served 2 terms from March 4th, 1829 to March 4th, 1837. He was the first Democrat, not a Democratic Republican, but just a Democrat. He was the first. Reason for leaving office, completion of term. His vice president was also John C. Calhoun, who resigned, and then Martin Van Buren. The election of 1828 are as follows. The electoral vote was Jackson, who won by a lot. 178 versus John Q. Adams, 83. Wow. That's popular vote. Jackson 647,286 votes. Adams 508,064 popular votes. In the election of 1832, Jackson 219, Henry Clay 18, others 18. Whoever the others are, they got 18 votes. 1832. Popular vote in 1832, Jackson, 687,000. Wow, 502. So that is 40,000 more votes 4 years later. That's pretty cool. And Clay, Henry Clay, got 530,189. And Clay did not run. Okay, Clay did not run in 1828, but he did run in 1832. Okay. Andrew Jackson's cabinet includes Martin Van Buren, as Secretary of State, Edward Livingston, Louise McLean, John Forsyth, all as Secretary of State. Secretary of the Treasury, Samuel D. Ingman, Ingham, Louise McLean, William J. Duane, Levi Woodbury. Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, John H. Eaton, Louis Cass, Attorney General John M. Berrien, 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 Roger B. Taney. Now we know who he is. Ugh. Benjamin F. Butler. Roger B. Taney he was later a Supreme Court, he was a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court for the Dred Scott case. That's who he is. Continuing in the cabinet, Secretary of the Navy John Branch, Levi Woodbury, Mahlon Dickerson, Postmaster General William T. Berry, and Amos Kendall. U.S. currency, Jackson is on the $20 bill. We all know that. Thank you. Supreme Court appointments, John McLean, Henry Baldwin. Wonder if he's a great-grandfather of the Baldwin brothers. James M. Wayne, Philip P. Barber, Roger B. Taney, who was later Chief Justice, and John Catron. State of the Union. Population was 12,866,020. Oh, is that the same? Is that the same one? Wow, nothing's changed in 4 years. That's interesting. Same exact number, unless it's a typo. National debt, 1837. Wow, this is a big difference. 1825, 83,788,433. 1837, 336,958. How in the world did the United States pay off 83,400,000? How in the world did they do that? That's what I want to know. Wow. They paid off a lot of debt between 1825, 1837, and we have how much trillions of dollars in debt today? 20 trillion now. Read that. Look that up. Write it down in the comments below and find out how in the world did we pay off $83 million in debt in 1825 through 1837. Ask me, tell me that. And why in the world can we not learn? Now, of course, U.S. currency is a lot different, granted, but still, that's a lot. Okay, Seminole War. I hope I'm saying that correctly. The first one was 1817 and 1818. Second Seminole War, 1835 to 1842. The third one was 1855 to 1858. So there's three of them. Okay. Thought there was more. So there's three Seminole Wars. Seminole is spelled Seminole. 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 Someone give me a recording and let me know how it's pronounced. Because I may be screwing it up. Black Hawk War. This is long before we had helicopters called Black Hawks. 1832. The Sauk and Fox Indians, Sauk, S-A-U-K, and Fox Indians native to the Illinois area were forced to relocate west of the Mississippi River in 1831. When food became scarce that winter in their new Iowa home, their leader, Black Hawk, decided that they should return home. Hearing of the return of the Indians, the Illinois governor summoned a militia in April 1832. Many, including Abraham Lincoln, interesting, answered the call. Then in May, they were joined by 1,000 regular soldiers under General Winfield Scott. Negotiations failed, but so did Black Hawk's attempt to recruit warriors from the other tribes. Fighting over the summer moved across northern Illinois into Michigan territory, present-day Wisconsin. There in August, Black Hawk surrendered, and on September 21st, a peace treaty was signed between the U.S. and the Sauk and Fox nations. Well, that's good. It's a good ending. Good ending. Didn't we know that Andrew Jackson was the only president to serve both in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812? I think I just read that. Now we know. Thank you very much. Jackson smoked a corncob pie. 1830, we have the Indian Removal Act. President Jackson wholeheartedly supported the Indian Removal Act, which pushed for the voluntary relocation of southeastern Native American tribes. Soon, however, the removal became mandatory, and a long, arduous process ensued of forcing thousands of Native people from their homeland and relocating to the newly organized Indian Territory known as Oklahoma. Richard Lawrence's assassination attempt. On January 30th, 1835, a funeral procession for South Carolina Congressman Warren R. Davis made its way from the House chamber toward the Capitol Rotunda, with President Jackson, Secretary of the Treasury, Levi Woodbury, directly behind the casket. Suddenly, 35-year-old unemployed house painter Richard Lawrence jumped out and fired a pistol at the president. But when it misfired, Jackson immediately began whacking the would-be assassin with his cane. Lawrence managed to pull out another pistol, which also misfired. Oh gosh! And Jackson resumed hitting Lawrence with his cane until aides pulled him away, while congressmen subdued Lawrence. Richard Lawrence insisted he wanted to kill the president because Jackson had slain his father a few years before. This and other wild claims led to a verdict of not guilty due to insanity. Lawrence would be committed to an insane asylum for the remainder of his life. Crazy. A president, I think this is the first one, as an assassination attempt. And it misfired twice. 2 pistols misfired. Secret Service wasn't around until Abraham Lincoln's time. We know that. But wow. Jackson, 1835. Let's see. (1835) 17. 1745. Oh, he was born, no, sir. 1745. 45, let's see, 100. 45. 55 and 90. Okay, so I'm getting that wrong. 1845. I gotta do the math somewhere else. Um, doesn't say how old he was. So I can't really do that kind of math. First president to ride. Jackson was the first president to ride on a train. Someone else rode. Oh, steamboat. That was another one. First president to ride on a steamboat. Okay. Where is my? Oh, here it is. Let me look this up. (1845). Let me look this up here. 1845? Yeah. Minus 1767. Yeah. 78. Okay, so 78. So 1835. So 68 years old. At 68 years old, Andrew Jackson was a victim of a presidential assassination attempt. 10 years before he died. Crazy. Right. Battle of the Alamo. Every Texan should know this story. 1836. On March 6, 1836, troops under Mexican President General Santa Anna, ended a 13-day siege of the San Antonio mission known as the Alamo. There, 189 defenders died, including former Tennessee Congressman Davy Crockett. You've heard of him. Their deaths spurred fellow Texans to rally and seek revenge. The cries of "Remember the Alamo" pierced the air at San Jacinto on April 21st, when the Mexican forces were overwhelmed and Texas independence was achieved. Wow. And that was after he passed away? 1836, about 9 years away. Nine years before Jackson passed away. All right. Last one for tonight will be the next one, and that is Martin Van Buren.